Good morning, teachers. I want to take just a second to go over the anchor with you, just to the point where we're talking, or where we are now, which is the problem of practice. But just to give you a little background, looking at this assignment, is we have several anchors that students in this program go through as they work towards their capstone, which you will complete in the summer. You may notice that it talks about teacher leadership programming. You may think, well, I'm in the literacy program, or I'm in the trauma program, or I'm in the STEM program. All of those are part of the greater teacher leadership program. They're all track strands in the teacher leadership program. The overall program is a teacher leadership program with those three tracks in it. So that's why you see the teacher leader part, and that's why some of your classes are aligned with teacher leadership as opposed to your particular track. So there are people who are in multiple tracks in this class, not just trauma, not just STEM, or STEAM, not just literacy. With that said, you can always turn your attention to focus your assignments on, when you're writing or completing an assignment, through the lens of the individual track that you're in. So you will see that this lists the 7 Kentucky Teacher Leader Standards. Well, Kentucky, historically our program has been students just from Kentucky, and that's why that is there. Just to make a quick clarification, Kentucky took their teacher leader standards from the national standards, and we really probably should change that so that it is more aligned with a national perspective as opposed to the state perspective, but just to make that clear. And then the ISTE standards, ISTE is the #1 professional body, and their standards are the most widely accepted standards for the integration of technology. So that's why you see those there. Now, as we move down to the description of the anchor, you see, it just goes over the various components of the assignment in this first paragraph, and then it breaks each of those down, and you will turn in the components of the assignment in 3 parts, starting with this first part, and you can find the due dates for the other 2 components on the calendar. You will not conduct this professional development. You are only creating the outline, the description of the professional development. So it starts off by saying that technology anchor requires you, the teacher leader candidate, to design a technology-focused professional development. Again, that technology can be aligned with your particular focus or your particular strand in the program. Okay. It goes on to say, the description here, that this process will begin with the identification of a problem of practice in your particular school. So that is where we are right now. And then it just goes on to say that you're going to conduct a review of literature of the problem of practice. That review of literature will inform the design of your professional development. This section of the anchor will include a detailed description of how the candidate will conduct the professional development, but again, you will not actually implement or conduct the professional development. Candidates will also describe how they are going to collect and analyze data. Okay, so it's very similar, if you remember, to the professional development, excuse me, in that FEP that those of you who had last semester completed. Okay, and I'm going to stop right there because I don't need to read it all. You can read it. Okay. Tells you that the page count is 10 to 15. That is a hard number. Okay. Any papers that are below or over that will have points deducted. So the candidate, and that includes that 10 to 15 pages, is your cover page all the way through your references. Okay, 10 to 15 pages. Okay, the candidate should design the professional development with their audience in mind. Okay, for many, this will be practitioner-oriented professional development. And in other words, the audience is going to be your colleagues in the school where you teach. Okay, so this video, I'm going to stop talking about the problem of practice here. And notice that there is a detailed rubric that goes through each of the components, including the problem of practice below this initial description. So it says that the problem of practice should be one page. That's one page, typed, 12-point font, double space. I've asked you to do that in Google Documents. Okay, and in this, you will identify a problem of practice in your school. This should be a technology-related problem that exists in your school or your school's community. So the problem of practice could be access, right? The problem of, if you don't have access, you're not going to have much practice with the use of technology. And I say that in the next sentence. For example, a lack of equity in access to technology, or student and teacher digital isolation and fatigue due to NTI could be a problem, right? There's a whole body of literature out there that has emerged related to the fatigue that results, the anxiety that results from spending all day on Zoom or Teams or Google Meets. And this could be the focus of your professional development. It goes on to say that you are encouraged to collaborate, excuse me, with your colleagues, administrators, parents, guardians, and other stakeholders in this process. In other words, if you're struggling and you're thinking, I don't use technology much in my room because because I teach kindergartners and we don't have technology. We have a kind of a school policy where we limit it in the primary grades. Then go to your administrator, go to your assistant principal or your principal, and ask them what is a problem that the school is facing outside of the primary grades. Go to your PTSO president, and I can assure you that they would probably have some insights into an area related to technology that needs to be addressed. Excuse me. And then this section finishes by saying, when identifying a problem of practice, the candidate describes the problem, its context, and its impact. So what is the problem in your school, and what impact is that having on your practice? What impact is it having on students? What impact is it having on parents? And again, this is such a timely topic right now because we're in the middle of remote instructions. Many of us, I know that many of you are not. And when I say colleagues, I would encourage you to talk with your colleagues in your groups about issues that they're facing, also to give you some ideas about this. But the digital divide, what this is, or one lens to look at this through, whether you're teaching online or not, is the digital divide, because it is a problem in most schools. It's a problem in most communities. Unless you're teaching in a fluent area, you're going to have some issues related to this. Okay, so I'm going to stop because I don't want this video to go on too long. I hope that this will help you. If I did not address something, as always, don't hesitate to email me, call me, text me, and I'll try to provide an answer as soon as possible. Have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.